Right. First of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this webinar. I hope you find it useful and helpful. I'm a member of Westbury Baptist Church. I'm also a carer for my wife, Barbara, who's got frontal temporal dementia. I'm chair of Bristol Dementia Action Alliance, and I'm part of a working group for Churches Together in Greater Bristol. And there's 5 members of the working party on this group. And they are Alice, who's an Anglican, there's Becky, who's Catholic, there's Duncan, who's an Anglican, and there's Adam, who's a Methodist. We've got 2 guest speakers today. We've got Jeremy Stretton. Well, tell us all about yourself, just in 30 seconds, Jeremy.
Yeah, my name is Jeremy Stretton. I'm a retired civil servant from Ellesmere in Shropshire on the Welsh borders. So we've got something in common there. I'm the Ellesmere Parish Church St Mary's Dementia Friendly Churches Coordinator, and I'm a volunteer with Age UK, Alzheimer's Society Dementia Champion, Shropshire Rural Communities Council, which is a deprivation of liberties role for people living in nursing homes and care homes, and that's about it really. So I have quite a bit of exposure to people living with dementia, and it could well be at the end of this that I've learnt more from you than you learnt from me.
Okay, thanks very much. What are the issues at the moment? How can we be a dementia-friendly church in a pandemic? So I wonder if you can put my issues slide up, Alice. And these are the issues for somebody who's got dementia. So the first issue is that they're totally confused about what's going on. The whole world is turned upside down. You tell them once that we're in a pandemic and that we've got a world virus, but they've got memory problems because they've got dementia. So you can tell them once, but 5 minutes later, they've forgotten all about it. And even when you do tell them that you've got to spatially distance, they haven't got a clue what that means. So they can't understand. And when you talk about social distancing, again, they haven't got a clue what's going on. So the first issue is that they're confused. The second issue is that they might be isolated. All their activities have stopped. I mean, Barbara, for example, her day centre closed, where she goes 2 days a week. Singing for the Brain stopped, meeting face to face and went online. And Zoom works for some people with dementia, but it certainly don't work for Barbara. The memory cafe that we run at Westbury Baptist, Happy Days, that stopped. Well, face to face it stopped. We have done some other things, but the actual face to face bit of it stopped. They feel isolated because they say, well, why can't we go out? Why am I so restricted? And then, of course, bearing in mind we're all in tears now. Well, where can we go anyway? Why can't I see family or friends? Why can't I go to church? Why can't I see the people I normally see? So because all this has stopped, they become clingy, they become insecure. And this particularly was the case with Barbara. They become frightened or scared. Things have changed that they don't understand. And they're saying to themselves, well, what's wrong with me? Why are all these people walking around wearing masks and dressed like astronauts? There may be body language problems. People with dementia can't read your lips anymore, particularly those that might be deaf. There's little or no brain stimulation. TV, crosswords, Sudoku, jigsaws and puzzles, they're all means of stimulating your brain. But of course, in lockdown and with this pandemic, some of these things may have stopped. A lot of what you can do depends at what stage the person with dementia is at, of course. As lockdown eases, we can go out for walks or rides in the car, but sometimes we can't even do that. They're frustrated, might even be angry, and when they become angry, they might become physically or emotionally violent. They miss the contact, they miss the touch, they miss the hugs, they miss the laughter. They can't do things that they normally do. And of course, the issues for carers is that they're not being able to care as normal. Lockdown has brought a change in routine. Adapting to that change is something we didn't expect. So we need to adapt to the changes as well as the progression of the dementia. And of course, for a carer, there's little or no respite. It's 24/7 care. And so carers can become tired or become exhausted. They might have their sleep broken. And we all know that a good night's sleep is really good for us. And in the case of a carer, a good night's sleep allows them to cope. They're not able to see their family. This applies to the person with dementia as well. You know, Zoom is okay, but it's not the same as face-to-face care because well, it's not. The thing is, you can't hug a laptop or a smartphone, can you? So these are some of the issues that people with dementia and their carers are going through at the moment. And of course, all their activities at church are totally stopped or limited or restricted. And so these are some of the issues that as a church that's trying to be dementia friendly, these are some of the things that we're having to cope with. So we're going to think about, okay, well, what can we do about this? And so I'm going to hand over to Jeremy now, who's going to talk for a few minutes about what churches are doing. And then we're going to go into breakout groups and say, well, okay, what are churches doing and what could they be doing? So Jeremy, what are churches doing?
Thank you, Tony. I'm just going to start off with some recent stats which you may know or you may not know, but they're quite enlightening. There are 850,000 people currently living in the UK with dementia that are known about. That number is expected to rise to 1 million by 2025 and 2 million by 2050. 27% of dementia carers feel cut off from society from recent questionnaires. Now, 61% of carers say that their health has been negatively affected by caring for people living with dementia. 1/3 of people living with dementia live alone, 1/3 in residential care, and 1/3 with a spouse or partner or within a family environment. And I think that latter one is something which we can translate into how we prioritise and deal differently with members of our community. In North Shropshire, in Ellesmere, and I was very interested to see that you have Anglican, Baptist and Methodist members of your group. We're currently trying to reach out and create a cross-church group in Ellesmere, but it's very early days. I didn't mention Memory Cafe, but you did, Tony, and we have a Memory Cafe in Ellesmere which shut down on the 23rd of March along with everything else. So all of the activities, the voluntary work that I've been involved in with AGK, etc., has been considerably affected by COVID and the restrictions, and no doubt your own dementia support has also, and we're doing our best to focus attention on ways to deal with the post-March situation. We found it really important to prioritise contact with individual people and groups and allocate individual contacts to people living with dementia, particularly in our congregation, but in the wider community as well. So there is a consistent one-to-one relationship of some kind, even though that, as you quite rightly say, can be forgotten. We think it's really important to prioritise the need to avoid anybody in need falling through the cracks, which can happen. The greatest need that we found is the need for support with those people living isolated on their own, maybe without pets, unable to use and access the internet, and unaware, as you quite rightly say, of exactly what it is that's going on around us. So those people who don't have Zoom internet access or are unwilling or unable to involve in that, we are falling purely back on telephone and letterbox support. It's difficult to judge the level of successful feedback from people living in isolated dementia because they are not necessarily able to fully express their opinion. But I think our view is that it's just basically better to do it and hope that that the impact is positive. Our church congregation is age profiled probably late 70s to early 80s on average. Pre-lockdown, we arranged for a local person living with dementia in a fairly advanced state to undertake an extensive review of our building and curtilage, which you may have done yourselves, I don't know. And that resulted in a challenging 2 pages of A4 action plan. We prioritised that on cost because obviously our normal income into the church is quite restricted at the moment and challenging. So we prioritised the actions that we needed to do on a monetary level. Things such as, and forgive me if you've already done this this review for your own churches, but things such as signage, which those of us who are not challenged by dementia were shocked by some of the findings from this review, actually. The very fact that signage needs to be at eye level because looking up can cause backward balancing problems. We've got a fairly traditional church which has got lots of steps up and down, in and out, and around and round to the kitchen and loo and vestry and everywhere. And we didn't realise that the absence of a white line on those steps was creating a fairly serious danger. So whilst the church is effectively closed or on standby or go slow, we've started to undertake some of the easier and effective improvements to help us through dementia awareness. Things like changing our signage to A4 laminated signage, which is much more visible, and reviewing things like our mats, the colour of the mats, which obviously is going to incur some cost. Improved luminescence as well for, you know, more efficient light bulbs in darkened areas is something that we hadn't been aware of, which is quite significant. Creates confusion and also potential danger. We made all of our PCC dementia friends, and they all now act as ambassadors for dementia awareness in the community and in the church. So what can't we do at the moment? Well, we can't meet face to face, and church services, I think I'm right in saying yesterday, have been reinstalled as a socially distanced opportunity, but from the 3rd of December, I think. But anyway, we can't meet our memory cafe, and that was becoming increasingly popular. We had about 25 people from a standing start 18 months ago of people living with dementia and their carers who thoroughly enjoyed that weekly memory cafe, which is now stopped, of course. So what do we do to try and mitigate that? Well, we maintain individual telephone contact with the people living with dementia and their carers. We provide cards regularly with kindly messages in, and we deliver bags of sweets and biscuits and tea bags through the letterbox with messages of support on a fairly regular basis to those at the top of the priority list, and obviously recognising any dietary restrictions that there might be from the sweets and biscuits point of view. In one case, one of the ladies who lived on her own, we found that she was very keen on music and didn't have a radio. So we provided her with radio, which gave her a bit of a different lifeline, and she was really appreciative of. I think providing reassurance to people is critically important as well, and trying to focus on the positives of the situation that we're in. Listening closely is something which is sometimes quite difficult for us to do consciously, and we have taken the view that we really need to do the recognised thing, which is to enter the world of the person living with dementia rather than try and drag them into our own. We publicise 24-hour dementia-friendly radio, providing music that evokes memories through different age groups. If you're not aware of that, I can let you have the link in due course, but you might well know. We're not able to meet face-to-face at deanery dementia-friendly coordinator meetings, which we've been running now for 2.5 years, with one person from each parish acting as a coordinator. Instead, we're meeting via Zoom more frequently than we would have done in face-to-face to share local experiences, concerns and ideas. We have, and I don't know whether this is a widespread thing for dementia-friendly churches and you've already been involved in, but Lichfield Diocese have produced a dementia-friendly churches toolkit, which Sarah Thorpe led on. And from that, we are devising an action plan to encourage a collaborative approach on rolling out this toolkit across local parishes. I can let you have more information on that if you haven't got it and if you need it. We can't deliver dementia friends sessions to local groups, and I think that's the bedrock of what we try to do in our community, really, is to generate dementia friends at all levels and for all ages and groups. So instead, we're using the time constructively to contact local businesses, schools, clubs, organisations not yet signed up to the dementia-friendly community, and to gain commitment to future dementia-friendly sessions on dates to be agreed. So it's keeping that conversation running rather than abandoning ship. We're also trying to find some ways of involving pupils and students of the local schools. For example, we're offering up a book token for prizes for the best essay or artwork on, quote, dementia, what it means to me, unquote, which seems to be quite popular. We're unable to hold dementia-friendly church services at the moment. We haven't actually done that yet, but we have got a template for doing so and will be as soon as we possibly can. So instead, to keep the communication chain running, we publish regular articles on dementia in our community, offering contacts and support for those living with it and for their carers, inviting contacts and suggestions. That's the parish magazine. We have a circulation of about 250 in a fairly small rural community, and our congregation is normally about 70. So we're touching a lot of people who are not actively involved in our Anglican church as well. We have regular mention of dementia in our weekly prayers list. And we offer the sunflower lanyards, which are provided by a number of supermarkets. I don't know whether you're aware of that, you probably are, but the sunflower lanyard is a soft way of people living with dementia telling the rest of the world that they have an invisible condition which they might need some help with, and we provide those. We're also using the Deanery Synod as a vehicle for exchanging views, discussing dementia and developing fresh ideas for support of those in our community who are in need. So rather than go on for another half hour, Tony, I think that's really the main things that I wanted to suggest as being trigger points for the discussions, really.
Great. Thanks very much, Jeremy. That's really helpful. If you're wondering what the sunflower lanyard looks like, it's this. So if you go to your local supermarkets and some shops, Bristol Airport issues these as well to people that have got special needs. People with dementia have got special needs. So if you want to know more about it, we can tell you about it. Okay. So I think we've got Jane Moore here. I think Norm's had trouble getting in, but I think we've got Jane here somewhere. Yeah, she is.
Hello, Tony.
So Jane is the co-founder of the Purple Angel campaign, which started in Torquay. And Jane's going to talk for a few minutes now about a project that's been going on and we're involved in Bristol as well, about MP3 players. So over to you, Jane.
Thank you, Tony. Music memory is relatively spared in Alzheimer's disease. It's not affected by the progression of the disease, and it carries on right up to the very end. It's so precious. Music has an extraordinary effect, both on emotions and behaviours, on people with dementia in general. It lights up more areas of the brain than anything else, and it's been scientifically proven that musical memory is not affected by dementia at all. My own mother, we sang on her deathbed, and she came back to me in those last few minutes. And I think this is one of the precious things about music, is that it can actually bring that person back, even if it's for a short while or a couple of hours, and they start to talk again, relax again. It's an amazing thing, music, and I can't say it enough times. At Purple Angel, we've been sending out free players, MP3 players, uploaded with people's favourite songs. So they send us 15 of the person's all-time favourite songs, plus the artist, which is very important, because you know yourself, if someone else sings that song you like, it kind of ruins it sometimes. So 15 songs with 15 artists. Our techie chap, Steve Whelan, he will upload them, which he does for free. He volunteers to do this in his spare time. And he uploads them and sends them out together with headphones. Memory chip, if needed, is all in there. All the wiring is in there and everything. I'm afraid I'm not very technical, but he seems to know everything. We send around 100 to 150 players a month currently. And we always ask for feedback. That's all we need, is just a bit of feedback after using them. Anyone with dementia can apply for one of these. The carer or family of the carer, the carers or family of the person with dementia can help them choose the songs if they're not able to pick their own songs out. We've got reports of decreased anxiety, decreased pain, depression, increased cognitive ability, communication, and general quality of life. And I mean, that's not to mention the bit of respite that a carer gets while the person's using their headphones. People with dementia come alive again. They sing along and they move to the music, smiling, interacting, less anxiety and much more joy for everybody. Some will even get up and dance. I think that the benefit to carers can't be understated either, because just that 5 minutes to go outside to the kitchen and prepare a meal while you know your person is safely sat there listening to favourite music is a real boon. It just gives a little bit of respite. Funding for our cause has been a bit difficult because a lot of our World Rocks Against Dementia events that we normally hold in March were cancelled last March, so hence we lost quite a lot of funding that way. And it's very difficult without car boot sales and other methods of selling goods to raise funds for these MP3s. But so far, so good, and we can still supply. We can upload the Holy Bible, read by David Suchet, or parts of it, or hymns, or songs, or any type of music that's wanted, classical, rock, rap, whatever the person likes. We're also looking just to the future in case we don't get enough funding. We're trying to get in some second-hand MP3 players. So if you have one in a drawer somewhere, or you know anybody who has, or you could even put a little advertisement at your church for us to get second-hand MP3 players. We'd be very grateful. They need to be working order, have the memory chip card with them and all the wiring that was with them. And you can send them to us. You can send direct to Steve Whelan, which his address can be got from emailing Norm's, I think, best, and then Norm can deal with that. Norm's email is norrms@gmail.com. That's 2 R's in Norm's, norrms@gmail.com. And you can email Norm for an order form for an MP3 for a person you know, or you can also email him for Steve's address details to send your second-hand MP3s to. Be very grateful for any help, and when we all get back online after COVID, any small fundraising that you could do towards this would really help us greatly. The scheme has been fantastic. You can contact us through our website. That's www.purpleangel-global.com. There is a contact page there which comes directly to me, and I can answer any queries on it that you like. I think really just to say thank you all for helping us to carry on providing these MP3s. We're very grateful for any help, assistance, donations, and also contacts of people who need these players. So hopefully you'll get in touch with us and we can help you. That's about it, Tony, I think.
So we're just about that. So let's pray together. Lord, many of our loved ones are journeying through the fog of forgetfulness. They do not know what it means to be living through a pandemic. They do not understand why we are denied access to them. An ever-widening chasm separates us from them. Their loneliness and confusion increase, and we are desperate to be near them, to hold them and love them. We are in turmoil. May your peace come down upon them, and may your love enfold them, and may your friendship sustain them. Please bless all whose condition fails them, and all who care in our absence. Lord, in your mercy,
Hear our prayer.